Real estate, Mark, thank you for joining us,
Thank
is
you.
often seen as a haven asset, and it's become a bigger part of institutional investors' portfolios as they expand allocation to alt assets. Does Donald Trump's policies and the way he announces his policy change that dynamic?
I don't think it does change the dynamic. People have been investing in real estate for many, many years as part of their diversification, part of portfolios. Real estate's really a hybrid between a stock and a bond. So it's got the income-like characteristics of a bond, but it's got the growth characteristics of an equity type stock. So you can be in an alternative asset class which provides diversification. It provides an uncorrelated return to a lot of other investment alternatives.
What about, now, there was this great story in the New Yorker the other day about all these rich tech and hedge fund people worried about the end of the world, buying property in New Zealand and other places that were safe havens from all the political turmoil. Trump aside, do you see that activity picking up, that people buying property to diversify themselves, not just from a portfolio perspective, but from a political perspective, given all this uncertainty?
Yeah, I can't comment on what individuals have done. People have built bomb bunkers over the years.
Do you see any flows like that picking up?
Yeah, we see that institutional investors have been allocating more to real estate. So on average, the surveys that have come out, institutions about 10% allocated to real estate. And what we see is they're moving up that to about 11.5%. Sounds like small number, but that in the scope of the pie, that's a lot of money coming into real estate. And people have been seeing institutional real estate in their portfolios for 30, 40 years, and what it does to stabilize the returns of their portfolios. So both direct real estate and REITs really helps out the returns of these major portfolios.
Well, in the same way, we've seen wealthy Chinese and Russians park a lot of their money in overseas property markets, London, New York, that kind of thing. Are they pulling back now because of political concerns in the UK, in the US? Do you see any sign of that?
No, we've not seen any sign of the pullback, but what we've seen is people coming here to the US for yield, and to Europe for some extent. So what they're doing is they're looking at their government bonds, they're looking at the low rates. So you see Japanese investors who've been out of the market for a while coming here for yield. We've seen some of the Australian investors and some of the European investors coming here for higher yields they can get from the spreads over government bonds, which they get in their local markets.
So looking around the world, obviously real estate has staged an incredible comeback in recent years. What areas are the most exciting to you?
Sure. Well, in the short term, we like what's going on in the United States. There's a lot of visibility in earnings. We see some growth. You see a market on the institutional side, which is about 95% occupied. When you look at real estate, think of it like your bond portfolio. So think about duration. So the short end of the spectrum, hotels, multifamily, student housing, very short turnovers, all the way down to net lease and healthcare, which could have a 15-year duration. So we see today in the U.S. moving from a longer-term duration, where you saw net lease and healthcare doing very well with interest rates very low and not a lot of growth in the economy, to an economy which could have some more growth and adding more to the short and intermediate term duration asset classes. So could be regional malls, some offices, some industrial assets in the U.S. And then we shift intermediate term, maybe the next 12 to 24 months, into Europe. Lots of political uncertainty going on today, lots of issues to resolve this quarter with Brexit. But as that becomes resolved, then you're going to see some big pops in that market because there are some just glaring values over there today.